We will be given like 1 minute to be adding more participants. So inshallah, we will start very soon. Thank you very much. So hello everyone. Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh. First of all, I would like to welcome all and sundry to our first webinar on the literature review. And in our midst, we have a most distinguished personnel in person of Dr. Usman Joda. I would like to briefly introduce the presenter while welcoming everyone. Dr. Joda, Dr. Usman Joda obtained his bachelor degree in Information and Communication Technology at Modibo Adama University of Technology, Yola. And after that, he secured a job with AfriBank of Nigeria, where he worked for 2 years as executive trainee. However, due to his enthusiasm and zeal for education, he joined Bauchi State University, Gadau, in the year 2012 till date. And working at the BASUK, Dr. Joda also furthered his education to the postgraduate level at University of Technology China and University Technology Malaysia, where he obtained both MSc in Computer Science and PhD in Computer Science in the year 2014 and 2018, respectively. In addition, Dr. Joda has taught a number of undergraduate and postgraduate courses in the field of information technology and computer science. He has also published more than 30 research articles in the scholarly and reputable journals. And for our information, Dr. Joda, according to the Google Scholar, his citation has reached more than 2,000 citations. So I think we can see that he is the best person to guide us on the research writing, particularly the literature review. So for intellectual discourse, Dr. Joda has attended several conferences, both at home and abroad. Presently, he is the Deputy Dean Student Affairs of the university, that is Bauchi State University, and his main research interests includes pervasive computing, cloud computing, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, wireless sensor networks, So, in a nutshell, Dr. Joda is an embodiment of knowledge in the field of information technology and computer science. So, with this, I warmly welcome our great also, and I wish him a fruitful presentation. And for the participants, and I hope that in the subsequent sessions you will attend, inshallah. So, Dr. Harry, you can go on with the session.
Thank you very much, Dr. Fago. Would like to invite Dr. Joda to please go on with the session. Thank you, Dr. Joda.
Uh, Assalamu alaikum, and a very good evening to you. For us here in Nigeria, it's still morning. However, that is how the things are, or that is how God wishes. Uh, I can't sufficiently express my happiness and gratitude to Almighty God for finding me worthy in mix of you or amongst those in this area to come and share the little I know in the field of research with you people. So I thank God. And what Pogo has said that I'm the best, no, I'm not. I just have to do my best to share or to make you understand what is expected or what is required. Although most of you are new to me, but we all know that knowing someone start a day. And I believe from today we are all friends to say, or colleagues, because I've just noticed that one of my good friend is in mix of you in person of Dr. Salahuddin Adebayo. Anyway, if do you need to write literature review but don't know how to begin? So that is, don't worry, that is what I'm here for. I believe by the end of this meeting, you should be able to have a good understanding and how to go about writing your own literature review. Okay? Although the time that is given to us is very small, 1 hour, to digest a literature review in an hour time, I doubt it's not enough. But I will try my possible best to see that I have taken you into some areas that will give you or that will serve as a guide for you so that you can continue to develop your own research in your respective areas. Before I start, my name is Dr. Usman Joda from Bauchi State University, Department of Mathematical Sciences. My major areas of research is pervasive research computing that deals with networking, cloud computing, wireless sensor. So I believe those that are not from this area, I would like to say it, they should, wherever they did not understand the terminologies, because we are from different background. So, and usually, in a discourse like this, the terminologies we are used to is based on our own background. So please, they should call my attention so that I will try to express myself very well in respect to that. However, knowing literature review is one of the fundamental things in any research that you want to do. Let me. So, yeah. Okay. What is literature review? is this literature review? Particular subjects, meaning we want to that, and for you to understand what is known in that particular area for yourself, or what other people have right about that particular things, you will refer them to books, articles, and other source of information, which may include printed materials such as leaflets, brochures that provide information about something. Okay, so, and again, there is what we call in the area of research a scientific literature. That is the body of writing on a particular subject. So literature, it does not stop at only in a scientific manner or in conducting a research. So in anywhere you will find yourself, in order to solve any kind of problem, so we need to understand that before, so that we can build on that. So what is literature review to say? It's a comprehensive and up-to-date overview of published information on a subject area. That means if you are trying to come up or to have understanding of what has been done on a particular subject or in another area of research, that scholars and researchers. So sometimes you will not take any piece of information that we received as what? As a literature, but rather it has to meet some certain standards. So before we now call it as a literature, so that we can refer it back to the readers or to the society or to the knowledge community that there is something that has been published at a certain time, and that is what we mean by the literature. It is not just one piece of literature after another, but rather it is a critical look at the existing research that is significant to the work that you are carrying out. So if you are conducting a research, so you need to have a critical understanding. You need to look at it critically in respect to the research that has been done. And again, doing a literature review requires you to demonstrate skills efficiently. That is your ability to scan the literature efficiently using manual or computerized method to identify nowadays of the search engine or for the computing world, because of how these literatures were made easily for us to access them, and at the same time to make some input and get some insight from them, unlike before. If you could all remember, for those of you that have attended universities in, let's say, from the 2000 to 2010, because then materials or the use of internet has not been very much available in our respective universities. So we are used to the library, and if you go to the library, imagine how you will be searching for a book, a textbooks, as well as journals. So it's a tedious work. But nowadays things has been very easy for us with the help of the internet and as well the search engines, so that we can what? We can have scan or seeking the information becomes very easy for us. And then again, not only that, there is what we refer to as a critical review, apart from the information seeking. That's the ability to apply principles of analysis to identified literature. So what are these principles do, or how do they help you? So it depend on how you assimilate or what is your main objective in that particular area that you are looking for a literature. One, to provide background information about a research topic is one of the major objectives of carrying out a literature, because with this information, it will help you to avoid reinventing the wheel, because the wheel has been invented. So once you look into the literature, you study it, now it will pave way for you that this thing has been there. All we need is an
Joda,
improvement on the invention, not on the
Dr.
reinvention.
Joda, I'm sorry
Hello?
for interjecting. Can you please put it on full screen? Like
What?
the slide, can you make it a slideshow on full screen?
Okay.
Thank
Okay,
you.
no problem. Mm. I believe you're all seeing it now.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And not only that, it also helps to carry on from where others have already reached. Meaning, the literature review that you will conduct, it is going to give you a state of the art on a particular field of study or topic of study to say. And generally, you will have a very good background and understanding per se on that area. Because even in the area, you are not going to do a lot in that area, but rather you are going to look at a particular topic or subject, so that in that subject or in that area, that is where your research may fall in. At the beginning of the time, quite all right, in conducting the literature, there is what we call knowledge discovery. Because if you have not studied these publications or these journals articles, there is no way you will have a broad understanding of what is happening in that domain. And for you that you are going, which is above the degree level, is expected for you in those particular area to master it. And for you to have that is only going through the literature. Then again, knowing the literature or going to the literature, it will demonstrate familiarity with the topics, problems, issues, and challenges in relation to that. So meaning, if you have not conducted a thorough literature review, that means all these things will be lacking behind. And another thing is what? To establish the importance of the topic. Why? Because you have understand the overview of that particular topic. So you can relate to it to any kind of environment or community or setup in respect to problem solving and other things. And also it narrow down a research topic again. Because if you are looking at, for example, to say computer science, it encompasses a lot of areas. You see, we have now that there are a lot of things that have been done in that area in order to taxonomize it from other related areas. Example I can give. If we take computer science, we will have computer software engineering, we will have net security, and now we also have networking and also cloud computing. If you take any aspect of one of these areas, for example, cloud computing, you may have other subtopics inside it: resource allocation, resource scheduling, cloud integration, security, and so on and so forth. So by going into the literature, you will see that there are areas that you will develop interest, where you have a very good understanding, where you will develop a confidence for yourself that yes, I have understood this and I have seen that there is potential, I can make my own contribution in that area. Not only that, it will provide you with the intellectual context for your work. That is to say, you will have a position, a stand in relation to what other peoples have done in their work. Because now you are trying or you are becoming a master in that particular topic or in that particular research area. You will see different perspective and different perception, and you will begin to develop your own perception with a proven theories and models that are coming into your head because you are loaded with the literature. You have understood what is happening in that particular field. So now, what does a good literature review will look like or will be? One, it will be organized around and related directly to the topic. That means it's not expected of you, if you are conducting a literature review, to be what? To be moving outside your scope. That is why it's good to have understanding on your area, that is the domain, and what are these subdomains and what are the prerequisites of that. Because with that, anybody that will come to tell you something that is outside the context of the area or topic you are researching on, you will give him a reason that no, this thing has not been discussed by any researcher. And this is what is being told in the field. For example, in the field of cloud computing, I will be using cloud computing. We have famous researcher like Raj Kumar Bhuya. Okay, so they have classified what it means to be, what is the challenges or what are the critical issues in the areas of cloud computing. And there are some that were linking or trying to link between a cloud computing with a distributed computing. So now these icons, they said that, look, no, cloud computing is not directly related with the distributed system, because the distributed system or computing can act independently without coming into the aspect of the cloud. So this is just an example that you may find yourself and you can directly distinguish between what is in that area and what has not been said in that area, and you can depend it with what? With a reference. That is the literature, because the whole world has a record and has agreed based on that literature that is being said or has been cited by the previous scholar in respect to that. Not only that, it gives you an overview of the subject area under study. What is and what is not known about the topic. Identify how the subject has developed over time, because it must give you the trend of that particular area or of that particular topic, how it started and how it becomes and where it is at the present time. Just take a look at computers. We have all studied what a computer is and how it comes about. We have all studied that in our undergraduate program. Generations of computers. What happened in the first generation? How did the second generation come about? How did the third generation come about, the fifth generation, and how in the future the computers are going to look like? That is where we are now. Okay? Identify any gaps in knowledge. That is to find out what is missing in between these knowledge areas. What has been done, and now that what do we need to do in order to solve our own immediate environmental, societal, or global issues or problem to say. Because we have a very good background and understanding on how that area or that particular topic has played a very important role in the fields of research. And having understood that, then you will start to see that yes, there is something that needs to be done. There is a missing knowledge, and this missing knowledge need to be what? Need to be filled up. And that is what most researchers or our supervisors currently will be asking. Did you find the gap? What is the gap? The gap is not coming from the heaven, to tell you the truth. It's only when you have sit down and studied in between line, study rigorously, so that you will see that yes, there are a lot of missing knowledge in this area. And I believe with the little understanding or knowledge that I have learned from this area, I will be able to as well come up with something that will fill in the missing gap. Okay? Now, again, provide a critical assessment, because in your finding or in your literature review, there is what we call critical assessment or analysis or synthesis. Once you look at the literature, you should be able to synthesize and analyze. In the process of synthesizing and analyzing, you will see that there are some techniques that the previous researchers were using. So now you will begin to understand that yes, not only having the understanding, but there is a way that you can apply the knowledge that you have learned, or there is a way those research beyond, so that it becomes clear to the community or to the research community. Okay? And again, identify questions that need further research. It's only through literature, having understand or assess what has been done, that you will be able to come up with questions that need further research, because we know that research is not doesn't have an end. As the world is evolving, things are changing. What you may have today as an idea, tomorrow it will be obsolete. That means it may not be an idea, and the way we use it, it will be different from the way others may be using it. So with this, you will see that yes, you will ask questions to a particular in a particular area or on a particular topic that needs answer. Okay, and on what? On your subject area. Most of us PhD program for students to have a depth and breadth of knowledge. You will increase your knowledge, not only limited to that particular area, but what in the whole domain of in the whole domain. If you're going for security, for example, or cyber security, that means at a master's level, if it is a mixed mode, you have to take a prerequisite courses that will give you a very good background in that domain before you even come to the PhD. And when it comes to the PhD, it is do it yourself, or do it yes, do it yourself. So you have to have the habit of going in depth of certain areas, so that you will have more knowledge, and also ensure the researchability of your topic before commencement. Before commencement of profile research. So because it's only through literature review, when you are doing it, that it will give you an idea again that in this area, is it researchable or not researchable? Okay? So having done that, you will have what we refer to as the identifying the gaps or weaknesses in the literature. You will be able to raise questions. You will evaluate and show relationship between different materials. That is comparing and contrasting the views of different authors. Because it is there that only when you have conduct or you are conducting a literature that those people in that area that are contributing, they will become like your friends, although you have never met or seen them. But through their write-up, they become so much familiar to you that you will have good understanding on what they mean on a certain issues, and you will be able to differentiate their own views based on what? Based on their writing. Okay? And again, showing the key themes that emerge between the respective researchers and so on. That is after having a critical assessment in relation to your literature. Okay? Stages of literature review. This has bring us to the stages on how we can conduct or we can carry out a literature review. Now, one of the stages is plan your review. Carry out a search for relevant materials, evaluate materials, analyze the pending, then draft and revise your review. How?
Dr. Joda,
Now,
Dr.
yes.
Joda, your slide is not moving. It's still on why do a literature review.
Okay. Is still not moving?
It's still not moving.
Oh.
Can you share your entire screen instead of just the
It's
PowerPoint?
okay.
I think this way it can be resolved.
All right. You know, technological things. Sometimes you may have some challenges while you're doing it. So it's one of those things, I believe. All right. And it's the same thing in the process of carrying our own literature. We should not expect that you will have a smooth running of your studies or program. One or two things may come in the process, and your ability to adopt the changes is what will make you a very good researcher or student to say. Okay. Now, I think we are on stages of literature review, right?
Yes.
First of all, we said plan your review and also carry out a search for relevant materials, evaluate materials, analyze the findings, and draft and revise your review. These are the fundamental stages for you if you want to conduct any literature review. Because without planning, you may not know how you can go about it. And after you have planned that, yes, I have found an area or I am now researching on particular topic, it becomes very easy for you to plan. And planning after from that, this is carrying out a search for relevant material. How did you plan? What type of literature review are you going to write? Now, this has taken us to a different types of literature review, which we will say it in summary. Because type, scope, and discipline of my review. In this aspect, we can say that you need to find or define the specific problem or question that your literature review will address. The question is what is the research problem that you are going to look at, or what is it that is missing in the literature that has not been done? If you have this as part of your focus, then it will make the literature planning to be very easy or to be smooth for you. That is the focus. Because now you are focusing on certain things, not all the things that are being done or that has been said on that particular domain. Then type. What type of literature review are you conducting? Is it focused on theory, methodology, policy, qualitative, or quantitative studies? Okay? Then again, what is the scope of material that you will include? What types of sources will you be using? And what academic discipline will be included? E.g., construction management, law, sociology, computing, etc., etc. Because for every problem you may think of, it has been in existence in certain disciplines. We cannot say that if we have a problem in engineering or in civil engineering, we may not have the same problem in electrical or mechanical problem or mechanical engineering or computer engineering. We may have. But what will differentiate between these problems is what we refer as the type. What are the methodology? Is it based on the methodology? Is it based on theory or based on policy that we are going to look at in that particular discipline? Okay? Then again, identify the keywords that are relevant, the keywords that you will be using. Keywords are very essential or very important. That is why in almost every publication, not textbooks, we have to use the keywords that are what? That have defined or that gives a cumulative understanding of what we are going to do or what we have done. Then carry out search for relevant materials, like we have said in an introductory part, which will include library catalog, online database, journal which may be print, electric, books, newspapers, articles, government policies, report, statistical information, act legislation, case, and so on and so forth. Because if we are conducting a literature review, we are trying to bring out what has been done so that we can understand the missing knowledge, which is the gap. You cannot escape these terminologies in every aspect of research work that is being done, because mostly you will be asking, what is the gap? What is the missing knowledge? What are the originality? What is the originality of what you are doing? And it's only through these processes that you will do that will give you answer to these questions or to these raising questions as you move on. And again, searching for the literature, it will allow you to see if they are available to you in your library, or you have an online access. Mostly, I believe most of us that are international, and even nowadays in our respective universities, we have access to so many databases that has a lot of resources on it, so that it will allow us to conduct our research. I believe all of you may not have difficulties in searching for the literature, because the literatures are there, and I believe access to the database is there and internet access is there. What is left for you is, after you have planned, then you should what? You should continue to search for your literature review. Okay? Types of literature. We have the primary and the secondary. And the primary presents or comments upon the result of such research activities, which include analysis of data collected in the field or in the laboratory, or original materials that have not been filtered through interpretation or evaluation by a second party. Also, research articles in peer-reviewed journal, dissertation and thesis, technical report, conference, and proceedings. These are the primary literature. And the secondary literature interpret and analyze the primary literature, which may have quotes or graphics of primary sources in them, e.g. textbooks. So the primary literature that mostly we will be dealing with is primary literature. And secondary may come in, but not in a bulk type. Mostly we depend to build up our knowledge or particular areas. Secondary literature may comes in when we are trying to define or to be more objective and clear on certain nomenclatures used on a particular topic or on a particular or in a particular domain. Okay. Evaluating, which is another steps in conducting literature. That is, you need to have an initial appraisals of the author credentials, institution affiliation and background, date of publication, date of out, is the article current or edition or revision. So sometimes it's not every material that we see on the internet that worth looking at or worth citing in your area or in your research, because there are things that we need to look into consideration, which include the author's credentials, institutional affiliation, background. You need to have good understanding of these authors, where they are coming from. What is their institutional affiliation? Because these things determine or will determine the quality of what you're going to publish. Because if we can see, or if the researchers or the supervisors or any reviewer, when you are submitting a paper from your literature, that you have not included certain authors in that particular domain, that means they will start to question, have you done what is necessary? Have you really understood what is happening in that particular? Because there are certain authors, or there are certain things that if you did not include, I think you may not be going with the state of the art in that area. That means you are left behind if you are not considering these people. Okay. So you need to know who are the pioneers, not only pioneers, who are nowadays the big researchers that are contributing in that areas, because you are now new in that area. You are trying to come up to graduate from a particular program so that you become a master in that field or a philosopher in that particular aspect. And there are a lot of already existing philosophers that you need to consider their write-up, to look at, to assess what they have said and have good understanding. So that is what we mean, or what is expected of you to do in evaluating your literature sources. And also the dates of the publications, because as we are now in 2023, there is no way that you are going to take a literature of 2000 or 2005. It may be acceptable at certain point when you are giving an overview or in an introductory part. But majorly, your concern should be on the recent literature, let's say from 2000 to date. Except those publications has carried an impact that has not been what, that has not been solved up to now, or still people are looking at the questions they have raised, have not reached a solution, or we have not gotten a solution in those in those papers or in their research. Okay. And again, we need to look at the publisher. Is it a reliable publisher? Because we have a lot of scammers. As we all know, we don't have control over internet up to now. So there are a lot of publishers which are scammers. They are not original. So this is the things that we need to look at in trying to what? To evaluate our literature sources. This is very important. Okay? And I believe the database that we have access to mostly, they are all reliable publishers if you can go by them. So I will advise at this point, in evaluating your literature sources, go into your existing databases, the subscriptions your universities have, because they have a lot of full of resources there which you may use and you may not have challenge in the future. And as well, title of the journal. Whenever possible, using original sources will give value to what? To your paper or to the research that you have been carrying out. Original sources are more reliable. Okay. Then making use of academic reading techniques. Having understand how you can plan your literature, and again, how you can review your paper, your sources. Then how will you make use of these academic journals that you have searched, that you have maybe put into your library for doing or for conducting your literature review? One, we have what we refer to as a scanning, and we have skimming, and we have detailed reading. Okay? Scanning is moving your eyes quickly to locate word phrases that are useful for or relevant for you. For example, if you have taken a paper, now in that paper you can scan the paper and get an overview as well, not fully, but what has been done in that particular paper. What did the author do, or what did the authors did in that particular paper? That is the scanning. So it's allowed. You can scan first, because it's only by scanning you have good understanding. And you look at the keyword at the same times. So, and so on and so on. You can scan part of the text to determine their usefulness for your purpose. That is, after the abstract, you see, yes, it's a little bit, maybe they have done something related to what we are looking at. Then you look at briefly at the introduction. Then maybe you can go to the introduction part. And because at the scanning, if you see the abstract and as well a paragraph in the introduction, you may be able to understand that this paper has worked in relation to my area or what I am looking for. Then with this, you can keep it aside to go and read it, so that it will allow you to what? To synthesize it. Okay? Then skimming helps to get the general idea of a text. That is, now you need to read the paper in a quick mode. That is to get the main point. Okay, you can use this preview a facet before detailing reading. Decide if a text is useful for you. So this skimming also will give you an overview or a good understanding of it. That is, you are not doing the scanning now, but you are skimming. At times there are papers that you will look at, you will see that you have interest in them, but looking at the abstract again and the conclusion is not enough, but you have to look at the content. What has he done in the second aspect, on the literature? Yes, he has reviewed this. What are the techniques? What is his methodology, and how did he analyze the results? What are the parameters or variables he has used or he has obtained in what, in his result analysis? You quickly look at them and you see that yes, these things meets my own requirement. So maybe later I will have a thorough reading or detailed reading, which is the last aspect of it. That is the careful reading. At the careful reading, we have to know who is the author first. What seems to be the author's main purpose: to offer advice, make practical suggestions, solve a specific problem to critique, to establish the truth. Because at the end of the day of our research, these authors, if we have understood where they are coming from, what they have done, is their work that we are going to benchmark with what we are going to do, so that we can show to the world that our work has is original, has its originality. And this is the originality is from a well-known author that has done certain things. And this is what is missing from there, and this is where we have established our own new knowledge, and that is what we have come up with. Who is the intended audience, and how does the author support his position? What has he used to support his position that yes, this what we have done, he too, he will have to what? To reference or to cite or to show to the knowledge community that this thing is in existence, has really existed. Meaning the problem has been in existence. And this is where he got it, and this is how he has done his own. And what does this study add to your project? Because this paper in particular, we call it those kind of papers the best papers. What is your baseline or benchmark paper? It's through detailed reading that you will be able to come up with these things that we have been mentioning. And again, there is what we call analyzing the findings. A literature review is not just listing out previous studies. It should contain a balance of summary and analysis. That means if you are writing the literature, it shouldn't be just listing out previous studies, but what? But you should be able to, it should contain a balance of summary and analysis. After you have summarized, you have to analyze. The analysis should be done at individual level and looking at the field or topic area as a whole. As an individual, because you are a master in that area, if you read it thoroughly, you should be able to understand and put it in writing what the author have said in that his paper or what he has done. Okay? And in respect to that, not only at his level, but you can look at what are the issues in that particular area. How does the individual or how does the study is relating to the current issues or state of the art in that particular area, which will include 4 main tasks. First of all, you have to summarize, synthesize, compare, and critique. It's only with these 4 tasks that you will be able to come up with a research questions or with a research gap. Okay? So, summary and synthesis. What do you know about the immediate areas of this research field? What are the key arguments, key characters, key concepts, key figures? What are the existing debate theories and what kind of methodologies are generally employed by researchers in this area? Okay, so by summary and synthesis, you should be able to come up or have an understanding of the key arguments and what is the debate or what are the theories that has been done and so many other things. I will present you a table at the end.
Mr. Speaker,
Yes, sir. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, sir.
Yes, I can hear you.
Please, I want to call your attention and the audience. I said I want to call your attention and the audience that the meeting is going to end in a couple of some minutes. So I want to tell audience that we can use the same link and rejoin back.
No,
Please.
engineer, we have.
Sorry for the inconvenience.
Sorry, engineer, we have already addressed that. There is no need for rejoining again.
Okay.
It is unlimited now. So, and Dr. Joda, you are given more time so that you can digest the session. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum,
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Please, we should also call the attention of the members to please mute their mic, please.
Okay, thank you. Sorry for the interruption, Doctor.
No problem, no problem. It's one of those things. Then, apart from summary, that is summarizing and synthesizing, then comparison and critics. If it's only when you synthesize, okay, or when you summarize the literature detailedly that you should be able to do a comparison and critics, which will allow you to see the strengths, weaknesses of your research area, without compromising what research A comparing what A has done and what B has done in that particular area or in respect to that particular research question. You will not be able to what? Criticize. Criticizing not in the aspect of they have not contributed. No, you should be able to come up with a new things, new ways of solving that particular problem. Quite all right. For everyone that has published a paper, it will sound somehow to say that you're going to critique what he has done. But that is what we are trying for. We are not actually criticizing that they have not done well or so. No. We are going to critique that they should have used this instead of this. They should have followed route A instead of route B. And you should be able to give your reason for saying that. because Route A has a distance coverage of about 2.5 kilometers. Although Route B is 5 kilometers, but it doesn't have a potholes, you can run at a speed of 180, while in the other ones there are a lot of what? Potholes and other things that even if you can run at that speed, you're going to maybe damage your vehicle or maybe have an accident and so many other things. And why do you say that? You should give it a supportive narration that it has been discovered that this road for the past 20 years or for the past 5 or 3 years, the government has been battling to renew or to reconstruct the road, and up to now recently, at the recent report, they have not done. Still people are pursuing the government to do that. Why? How did you get to know that? You get to know that through what? Through literature. So it's only when you prepare yourself with the literature that you will be able to make comparison and make critiques and begin your own new idea that will what? That will solve a particular problem. Okay, it may be difficult to do it until you have read widely in your subject. It's not an easy task for making comparison and also critique and also for synthesizing. It's not all easy. You have to read the literatures very well and have a good understanding of those literatures. Only then you will be able to make a very good comparison and make a critique. Okay? Analyzing the findings continue. At the end of the analysis, you should be able to see any common trends. You should identify debate conversations surrounding the topic, show the different perspective that has been used to approach the problem. The different perspective may have to take the methodologies. What are the methodologies? What are the schemes? What are the things that they have used in trying to realize or to achieve their main objective in that particular area or domain? And also identify seminal study or studies and demonstrate the chronological development of the problem or topic. So your literature should demonstrate what the scholars in your field know and what they do not know, because we may not know all, but if we are determined, we may know not all, but certainly all. Drafting the literature review, that is the structure. How your literature review is going to be organized around the selected topic. That is the framework of the literature review. How is the framework look like? First of all, we need to have an introduction which will carry an overview of what we are going to, or of the particular topic that we have selected. Then the main body, then the conclusion and summary. This is the framework of the literature review. In writing the introduction, identify the general topic. For example, assuming I am writing a literature review on computers, let's say maybe computer operating systems, which I believe we are all familiar with, or to say we have known, so that we can digest it easily. The general topic from there, we can say, yes, it's computer operating system. But in writing the introduction, we need to write what is that computer operating system is. Then what are the types of this computer operating system, and how is being used this computer operating system, and what is the importance of this computer operating system. From there, we will raise a question that we are going to address in relation to our review, what we want people to know or what we are looking at. It provides you some background by having understanding what is that, what are the types, how it is being used, and what is its importance. And it will establish the reason for reviewing the literature, because so many people have worked on that operating system. Many people have their own perception in relation to the types, then you should be able to organize the types in a different way that it has not been done, so that we will understand the taxonomization or the taxonomy of the types of operating system. Okay? Then the organization and overview of the review. That is, you will give how is this review is going to be conducted or how it has been organized. Okay? Also, the main body, how the main body will look like. Make sure that the different sections link together and tell coherent stories, because you will not be writing, as I said earlier, on the computer operating system, and you will bring a topic or a discussion that relates to the computer network. No, if you are bringing a networking aspect, then you have to say network operating system. That is the linkage. That is the link. But just bringing anything, it will not make it coherent, and it will not make it very understandable by the readers. Okay? And it provides the reader with strong umbrella sentences at beginning of paragraphs, signposts throughout, and brief, that is the summary sentences at intermediate point in the review to aid in understanding, comparison, and analysis. That is, if we are talking about the network operating system, how they are being used, then in that particular paragraph, we need to be what? We shouldn't be, what do we say? We shouldn't make it so difficult. We should to use maybe a graphical presentation or some sentences that will make comparison that this is the operating system, and when we said network operating system, that is how it operates. Okay, so, and I have given an example here. We can look at it and see how we can go about it, although I have like a practical session, demonstration with you with another paper, not this one. Organizing your literature review at the conclusion and summary. Summarize the main findings from your review. Major agreement and disagreement in the literature. General conclusion that can be drawn. Answer the question, so what? That is the future directions. Okay? And connect to current research project. What are the implications to the research you are undertaking? So connecting the research to your research, connecting it, the literature review clearly highlight that this is just an example of that. So I can leave the slide for you. You can look at it very well. Try not to read everything. That is the traps to avoid in the literature review. Reading but not writing is not good. Anytime that you are reading, please find a way that you can be taking notes. Okay? Not keeping reference information is also very bad. So don't try to do that. Incomplete references, paraphrasing, summaries, and indirect quotes. So incomplete references or paraphrasing and summaries and direct quotes, you should also try to avoid that in what? In conducting your literature review. And again, referencing is very important. We all know the importance of referencing. There are tools that we can use in our referencing. We all know that there are a lot of tools and there are a lot of referencing types. I'm not here to talk about referencing, but it's one of the things that we need to consider in writing our own literature review. So we should know that. And how we are going to cite it. I think for referencing in any writing, it should be a topic on its own. Maybe at a later time, the organizing committee should have time, should have a program or a seminar like this one on referencing. What are the tools that we can use in referencing, and how we are going to cite in our reference is also very important. It should be a topic on its own, okay? And so on and so forth. So I think with this, we can end this our lecture, and let's look at the prerequisite, that is the practical aspect that I said I'm going to do with you people. So I would like to say thank you for now, and I will entertain question and answers before we now go into the discussion that we are going to see some things in practical, or I can demonstrate for you on how you can go on certain things in relation to the literature review. And I thank you for your time for listening. So, Secretary, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Joda. We have now moved to the Q&A session. Like I mentioned earlier on the chat box, so far I have not seen any question on the chat box, so I believe some of you would want to ask your question. So if you do have any question, please indicate by raising your hand and you'll be allowed to unmute yourself and ask your question.
Okay, in the absence of any question, I think there is some things that I have prepared for us which will help you, which will help us also in conducting our literature review. Can we go ahead, please?
Yes, we can go ahead, but
All right.
my 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 take here is it's not that we don't have questions, but particularly I actually enjoy the way you put on the topic, but I was a little bit worried about, okay, what should I ask at this point? That is why I kept quiet. But maybe as we move on, I will bring on my question.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Ali Sarki. Thank you.
Dr. Joda, I think
Yes.
I have a question here.
Okay.
Okay, one says, it's from Muhammad Kushakri. Can we be reading the journal and at the same time writing on the Word document? That's a question.
Yes, this is a very good idea. And this is one of the things that if we are doing, we will hardly go outside the trap. I think in one of the headings, what are the things that you need to avoid in conducting or in writing your literature is to use a file. A Word document is a very good thing that you can use. As you write, then use your tools or just copy the title of the paper with the name of the authors. Then make it the heading. As you write, try to summarize what you understand or what you understood in that paper. Because at a later time, if you understood it and put it in written, then you will be able to come and synthesize and what? Compare and make a critic in relation to that. It's a very good way of conducting or on writing your literature review. And believe me, if you can do that for good 10 papers, believe me, you will do for 100 papers without feeling it. It becomes part of you. And the more you write, the more you will be making the comparison and you will be doing the critic at the same time. So it's a very good thing. It's something that we should invite in us. And this are the things most of us were doing and we will be left behind in doing our literature. We have to start, it becomes a prerequisite first of all you have to present the literature. Without having good understanding
highlight on
Okay.
tools to use for
Very
literature review.
literature. If you taxonomize it, that is, if you break it into certain components, it becomes more easier. But you cannot do taxonomy without algorithms or techniques that has been used in the design of the operating system itself. Ranges from the languages. Some may have been using Java, some may have been using C++. Nowadays, people are using Python. So you now categorize the architecture that uses Java languages, architecture that uses C++, architecture that uses Python. And among these three architectures, there are a lot of write-ups that has been conducted, did, or literature work that has been done. If you come up, you compare them, then you will be able to analyze to see which of the architecture has performed the best or that have a very good result. The one that have uses Java, you will come to analyze maybe they are very compatible with almost every system. There is no much compatibility issues. For the one that have uses C++, the issue of compatibility is there. They are not compatible with a lot of products of the softwares and so on. The Python you will say is the best because it has taken care of the compatibility and security issues. However, there is something that based on your understanding that need to be done in relation to even the Python itself. That is the question that you are going to raise, and this is the gap of the research, and this will give it the origin. That is the originality, because based on these three taxonomy comparison, you have done justice to what other peoples have done, and this is your observation, and this is your stand, and you are here, or you are going to defend it in a later time, which will come as part of your thesis
Dr.
objectives.
Joda, I'm
Okay?
sorry to interject. Due to the time difference,
Yeah.
some of us here will be heading for prayers afterwards. So
Okay.
we can take one or two more questions, and please try to keep it brief this time. And
Okay.
it says, one of them says here, how do we know that the list of review in our possession is exhaustive?
It's just quite okay. Now, what is the state of the art in the field of computing? Is AI, artificial intelligence. Because if now most of the problems we are going to take, for example, let me get back to maybe there is what we call language processing. In language processing, there are techniques that are being used in processing languages, which are outdated nowadays. Because of what? Because there is AI techniques, artificial intelligence techniques. So those ones become obsolete. We don't use them anymore. So if you are thinking of language processing in terms of languages, you are left behind. It's an outdated area. Now we are looking at AI, artificial intelligence. A language processing will use your own voice. You write a text, it translate and trying to find a solution that will help you Word or in a Microsoft Excel. This is a very useful technique that will help you in conducting your literature review, in synthesizing, in summarizing, and as well in critique, okay, and making comparison. Now you need to look at certain components. One, you look at the auto first. You create a table, and in that table you can create several columns. First column, you now put the author's name. Then second column should be author's title, that is the paper title. Then the second, maybe you can say methodology that is being used by that author. Then in the fourth column, you may look at the findings of the author, and you may have another column that you can say maybe limitation. Okay? Then you may have a remark. So having this in a table, while you have studied the paper, you don't need to go back to the paper again. That means you have finished with that paper if you understand it very well. When you come to summarize or to have a framework of your literature using only this table that you have formulated, you will see how you can be flowing in writing your literature, and it will help you a lot. Try this, is amazing way of having a very good literature, and it will serve as a guide. You will have a lot of questions that has not been answered, or gaps maybe you need to twist some and put some into in order to accommodate your objective or you want to achieve. Okay, so due to the time constraint, I may not be able to give you all that I come up with, but with the reference of this sample paper which I will send to you, and also the template, try as much as possible to adopt it. It will help you. Without literature review, you are going nowhere in your research. So literature review is one of the most fundamental and prerequisite in carrying out any research in the world. It's a scientific process. We cannot go away from it, but rather we should learn how to do it well. And also, it's only by practice that we can do well. We should try to be practicing the writing, putting it in writing. This will help us, and this will give us more understanding. And finally, I thank God for giving me this opportunity to be in your midst. And at any time you have issues or you have anything that you want our participation in it, please don't hesitate. So at final note, I would like to say anything that I've said to you that is wrong or in my short of knowledge, I ask God to forgive me for that, and also ask for your forgiveness. I wish you all the best in your academic endeavors, and I hope we will meet again in a later time. Thank you so much. Thank you for everything again. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Joda, for such a wonderful time. I think some of them might want to, if you can drop it now. And at this hour, I want to invite the chairman, Jacom, to give us a closing remark.
Okay, please, I have question.
You can ask your question to
Okay.
Dr. Joda's email. We are out of time. Sorry about that.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chairman, Engineer Moazu, are you here with us?
I will also send the template to Fago, because I could not see how we can import it here.
We have up to 60 something before now. We have about 60 something attendees. So we really appreciate them. We have more seminars, educative seminars to come on board. So we encourage the audience to continue to give us their support and also give the committee support so that we'll be able to do more. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And
over to you, my secretary.
We've
Thank you very much.
come to the closure of this webinar. Before we depart, can we have a photo session, if you don't mind? So if you feel comfortable, please open your camera.
I think it is very important, secretary, to tell the audience that there is a certificate of attendance, inshallah.
Okay, certificates will be made available, but my challenge is I do not have a comprehensive list of everyone that attended. So after the photo, would you drop your email address so that the certificate will be mailed to you, name and email address?
I think the easiest way is for you to drop your email so that everyone can send, maybe can contact you.
Yeah, I already dropped my email. So if you need the certificate, please write me and then I will make it available to you. Thank you. Okay, let's have our photo session now. Messages are disrupting. Refrain from sending messages since I'm going to take photo shots.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. Everybody ready? Hold on. Okay. Nigerians will always be Nigerians. 1, 2, 3. Another one. 1, 2, 3. All right. So I've sent my email and I'm sending it again. If you are interested in the slides and the certificate, kindly write me and I will make it available to you. And do include your formal name in the email so that I'll put it in your certificate.
Okay.
Feel free to exit the meeting.